Hi, here's another of my old books. This one is The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. I picked it up in 1993, and you see this cool inscription here from the original owner, I assume, Olive Keynes, in 1898. I think this volume was printed in 93 or 94, but as you see right here, there's no date, and that's all the publishing information we're given. This is a good indication that the book is cheap. Donahue, Henneberry and Company were a Chicago-based publisher that specialized in imitation copies, I don't know, inexpensive editions of certain things, probably all manner of classics. But it's attractive nonetheless. Oh, you can see some of the cheapness right here. Maybe there's another page that shows the alignment is off a good bit. Surely a fine edition wouldn't have that. There's also an original bookmark in here. Something that came undone from the spine, but it's still kept in the gutter of the book. Oh, that's cool. Gold edge on the top. You can see it's a bit worse for the wear. If you're up for it, let me read a little bit from this, because even though the book is cheap on its own, the value of the content is still just as priceless. You could say the same for the Bible. Any cheap copy of the Bible is just as valuable as an expensive copy. But if you've got a couple minutes, I'll read something from what a Kempis has written. This is chapter 4 of the first section. We must not trust every saying or suggestion, but warily and patiently ponder things according to the will of God. Yet, alas, such is our weakness that we often rather believe and speak evil of others than good. But perfect men do not easily credit everyone who speaks to them, for they know that human frailty is prone to evil, and every subject to error in words. On these points, he cites Genesis 8, verse 21, and James 3, verse 2. You see right down here. It is great wisdom not to be rash in thy doings, nor to stand stiffly in thine own conceits, as often not to believe everything which thou hearest, nor immediately to relate again to others what thou hast heard or dost believe. Consult with him that is wise and of sound judgment, and seek to be instructed by one better than thyself, rather than to follow thine own inventions. A good life maketh a man wise according to God, and giveth him experience in many things. The more humble a man is in himself, and the more subject unto God, the more wise and peaceful shall he be in all things. For chapter 5, truth, not eloquence, is to be sought for in Holy Scripture. Each part of the Scripture is to be read with the same spirit wherewith it was written. We should rather search after profit in Scriptures than after subtle arguments. We ought to read plain and devout books as willingly as those high and profound. let not the authority of the writer be a stumbling block, whether he be of great or small learning, but let the love of pure truth draw thee to read. Inquire not who spoke this or that, but mark what is spoken. I almost want to disagree with that, what Akimpus is saying is undoubtedly true. It doesn't matter that Luther or Calvin or Zwingli or Wesley said something or other, and that affirms it to us. It usually does. It often does. If one of these men that we respect says such a thing. And Akimpus is saying, don't do that. Think more on what is said itself. However, when you broaden that to everyone, it seems the life of the author, the testimony of the author gives credence to the statement. And so if you know Bonhoeffer, say, has gone through this, that, and the other hard thing, and he says this other hard thing, you take it as a well-wrought truth, or at least something that's very soundly said, as opposed to the guy who's done nothing, or even a hypocrite, and says what seems like a profound thing. That undercuts the thing. It undercuts what's being said. So we'd rather learn from the scholar or the one who has proven his words than, well, the guy who's just writing or speaking and having it written down. But far be it from me to disagree with Thomas à Kempis. But I guess maybe I just did. Actually, he may confirm exactly what I said and simply say that he didn't go on to say that extra thing. Skipping back to the back, I believe this may be chapter or section 4, chapter 46. My son, stand steadily and put thy trust in me. For what are words but words? They fly through the air and hurt not the rock. If thou be guilty, see that thou be willing to amend thyself. If conscience reproach thee not, resolve to suffer willingly for God's sake. It is but a small matter to suffer sometimes a few words, if thou hast not yet the courage to endure hard stripes. And why do such small matters go to thy heart? But because thou art yet carnal, and regardest men more than thou oughtest. For because thou art afraid to be despised, therefore thou art not willing to be reproved for thy faults, but seekest the shelter of excuses. But look better unto thyself, and thou shalt acknowledge that the world is yet alive in thee, and a vain desire to please men. If you're not a believer, thank you for even listening to this, but his appeal to the world is Christian language. I believe I'm saying this right. The world, the devil, and the flesh are the three sources of temptation for believers. Well, the way we see the world is the sources of temptation for everybody. But he's speaking of the world as in worldly influence, make money, make most of ourselves, follow our heart, all that kind of stuff. And seek the praise of men. That's most particular. For when thou shunnest to be abased and reproved for thy faults, it is evident that thou art neither truly humble nor truly dead to the world, nor the world crucified to thee. Again, Christian language that might sound a little weird, but it Achampus is speaking very much the way Christians speak, have spoken for 2,000 years. But give diligent ear to my words, and thou shalt not regard 10,000 words spoken by men. I think, I don't know, forgive me for not knowing, but I don't know that Achampus is writing from Christ's perspective at this point, but it sounds like he is. Maybe he waffles back and forth from just talking like a fellow scholar and speaking as if the Lord is speaking to us. But this passage particularly just sounds like he's imitating the Lord speaking. Perhaps he's imitating a spiritual father, or not imitating. He is a spiritual father. Perhaps he's speaking from that perspective. Behold, if all should be spoken against thee, that could be most maliciously invented, what would it hurt thee, if thou sufferest it to pass entirely away, and madest no more reckoning of it than of a mere note? I just wrote that. I just added that word. Than of a mote. Could it pluck so much as one hair from your head? A mote being a beam, a piece of wood that could blind you if it was up in your eye. Well, that's enough. If you haven't read The Imitation of Christ, there's a lot to enjoy here, and you might even find a cool copy like this in a used bookstore. Have a good day.